I do think that Buckley is going to go get that win against Kamaru Usman this week. I just think that Kamaru's just not being active enough, man. When was the last time we saw Kamaru fight? Was it the Khamzat fight? And he's had knee problems, surgery. He runs a podcast now. I just don't see him getting that win. But let me tell you, if he does get that win, then fuck, man. You know, the fire's going to ignite into Usman. And I think he's going to be very close to getting a title fight. So we're going to cover UFC Fight Night. We've got, honestly, one of the best fight nights of this year so far coming up this week. It's Usman vs Buckley. But for me, the whole card is got great fights, literally packed with epic fights from bottom to the top. So we're going to go through those. I'm not going to break down the preliminary card. I'm just going to go through it and just mention a few people who I'm excited to see again. And then we're going to break down the main card. Also, we're going to speak about what's next for Sugar O'Malley. And we're going to have a look at the new pound-for-pound list, the new UFC pound-for-pound list. So, you know, there's been a few changes in it. Merab's gone up the list. A few people have gone down the list. John Jones, the fucking duck, is still on the list. So we're going to go through that whole pound-for-pound list. So, guys, let's get into the UFC Fight Night. We had a good UFC 316. Merab showed again why he's the bantamweight GOAT. You know, it was unfortunate for Sugar O'Malley. And before I go into the UFC Fight Night, let me cover what's next for Sugar O'Malley. Unfortunately, even though he's one of my favorite fighters in the bantamweight division, you know, for people who don't know, I've shared a joint with Sugar. Sugar's a cool guy, down to earth. You know, we have a lot of the same interests. You know, we both like multiple women, example. But I think he's going to be in a sticky position now in the bantamweight division. And I do think it might be best for him to go up a weight and get into the featherweight division. You guys asking me why? Well, you know Sugar O'Malley's beat some killers in the bantamweight division, right? But at the same time, he's lost to the champion twice. Even if he goes and gets 2-3 wins now, do you really think that Dana's going to give him another shot? Especially when people say that he has Dana White privileges. I don't see it happening, man. Like, when you've lost to the champion twice, it's going to be very, very hard to get a third shot. So, and especially when the last time it was a submission. North-south choke submission. So, yeah, for me, I think Sugar O'Malley should start packing on the muscle, put on a bit of weight, and go up to the featherweight division and keep working on his wrestling and takedown defense. Because I know there's no Merabs in the featherweight division, but there is other killers that are good on the ground, like Evloev, for example, like Raheem Sterling, for example. And talking of Raheem Sterling is actually calling for the Sugar O'Malley rematch. You guys want to see that? If I was Sugar O'Malley, I would try and avoid that rematch for now. I would not want to go into a next fight with another wrestler. But you can't choose who you want to fight, right? Especially in the UFC. This shit ain't boxing. All right, cool. So, guys, I'm going to cut it off one stream on Instagram. And I'm then going to cut it off to the other one. Go and find me on YouTube and Kick. Take care, guys. Oh, yeah? SNG Gaming, yeah? I ain't seen it. I ain't seen him in a while here. Oh, he's always on Twitch. So yeah, man, like I've noticed a lot of you guys like only fuck with certain platforms. Like some of you guys are only Twitch guys. Some of you guys are only Kick guys. Some of you guys are like me who just prefer YouTube. But that's why I'm going to be diversified. We're going to cover all different topics and we're going to be across all the board, all platforms, including TikTok as well, which I forgot to mention. So yeah, I kind of covered last week's UFC. I covered Sugar O'Malley, and now we're going to go into the UFC Fight Night. We've got an epic one, guys. Let me go through the preliminary card. I'm not going to go through every fight, but I will mention some guys I'm excited to watch. So we have Philip Rowe, who's a jiu-jitsu specialist, one of the best jiu-jitsu guys in the UFC. And he's going up against Andrzej Lusa, who's an absolute beast, especially with the standing. That one's going to be a good fight. We have my fellow Greek, my ex-stripper, Vanessa Demopoulos. She's got a fight. She's actually the first lady, the first fighter on the card. And she's going up against Jamie Lynn Hoth. So, yeah, I want to see Demopoulos go get that win. Obviously, you know, I think stripping's a degen sort of thing. But she did quit stripping, and now she's a fighter. So big up to her, and she's a fellow Greek. So yeah, come on, Vanessa. Let's go get the W this week. We also have Ricky Simone. Ricky Simone fighting Cameron Smotherman. Cameron Smotherman is an up-and-coming guy. Ricky Simone is someone who's been around for ages. And for the people who don't know, Merab Devashvili, his only loss in the UFC was by Ricky Simone. It was that last second guillotine in the end of the third round where, you know, he basically just fell asleep, kind of. Like, he was kind of in between sleeping and being awake, and they gave him the loss. So we've got Ricky Simone this week. We also have Cody Durden coming back, who's an old school UFC fighter as well. Looking forward to that one. And talking of Sugar O'Malley, do you guys remember when Sugar O'Malley fought Chris Moutinho? He was a guy with green hair. He was a shit fighter. Not much of a good fighter, but he literally couldn't go down. And Sugar O'Malley was peppering him up. The amount of damage that Sugar O'Malley inflicted on Chris Moutinho was unreal. And then shortly after that, Chris Moutinho lost in the UFC again, and he got released. Well, guys, since that, Chris Moutinho has been on a 5-fight win streak outside of the UFC. And do you know what? Big up to Dana White, man. Dana White decided to give him another chance. So his other chance is coming this week, where he's going to be fighting against Malcolm Wellmaker, who's a 9-0 guy. You know, he's got another tough fight. Chris Moutinho is on 14-6. So I'm looking forward to that one as well. Another fight which I'm looking forward to is the Battle of the Wrestlers. So we've got Michael Chiesa going up against Court McGee. Two guys who are, I would say, more wrestling than striking. Big guys, lengthy guys in the division, or the welterweight division. And I'm looking forward to that. And lastly, in the preliminary card, we have Paul Craig. Big up my Scotsman, man. You guys know I've got love for my Scottish people. Paul Craig has got some great wins out there. If people don't know, Paul Craig submitted Ankalaev, the light heavyweight division champion. He submitted him. Yes, that's right. I'm pretty sure it was a triangle from the bottom. He also beat Jamal Hill. He broke his arm in front of me. I was there at the event, watched it live, and Paul Craig broke Jamal Hill's arm. So, you know, Paul Craig is a killer, man, especially with his jiu-jitsu. His jiu-jitsu is definitely elite. Unfortunately for him, he has pillow hands, and he's not that great standing. In fact, he's poor standing up. So yeah, he's going up against Rodolfo Bellato, who's a killer, definitely better standing than Paul Craig. And the only way I see Paul Craig winning this fight is taking it to the ground. So yeah, I do see Rodolfo getting the win in this one. Okay, we're going to move on to the main card, which I'm going to cover a little bit more deeper. The main card, so. All right, so guys, I'm going to come off this stream as well. I see there's some of you guys left, but I'm coming off Instagram. Come over to YouTube, come over to Kick, come over to Twitch, come over to TikTok. We'll be there, and we'll be carrying on the stream. And at the end, we're all going to be going over to Kick, where we'll be showing you guys the new Pheno box by Wizard Trees and the new strain by Hash Tribe. So guys, come over to Kick, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble. Let's go. All right. We're completely off Instagram now. All right, cool. And I'm definitely shadow banned off Instagram as well. How do I go from 5,000 views in one day to like not many people joining the live stream? I know I've got a shitload of people who don't like me. They're probably reporting my shit over and over again. But you guys are going to lose. And that's because I always win. Got the discipline, the focus, the grit, the desire. And you guys are going to see, even in this circumstance with YouTubing and streaming, I'm going to get to the top. It might take me longer than it did in other avenues, other departments of my life, but in the end, we'll get there. All right, cool. So, first of all, we've got Alonso Menifield against Umar Sy. Umar Sy is an unbeaten guy, 11-0. And this is the first time I think he's going up against a higher level fighter in Alonso Menifield. Alonso Menifield, we've seen him being knocked out, like the Carlos Ulberg fight, for example. But we've also seen him go and get great wins. He is a killer standing up. he's one of those guys who is a little bit hot and cold. Sometimes I look at him and I'm like, wow, for someone who's so packed with so much muscle, he's got amazing cardio. But then I've seen other times where he gasses out by the second and third round. So it really depends on what Alonso is going to turn up. However, I am going to go with the unbeaten Umar Sy. But I do think that this is going to be his first full check fight. This is going to be his first fight where, we're going to see if he's really who he is, So I'm going to go with Umar Sy on this one. Next up, we have the Mansour Abdul Malik going up against Cody Brundage. So we have, again, another unbeaten guy, a guy who's 8-0, up and coming, going up against, not a legend, but someone who's been in the UFC for a while, been through all of it, been through a lot of great fights in Cody Brundage. And this middleweight fight is going to be a good one, man. I see this one being an early finish, probably going on Mansour's side. Honestly, I see Mansour getting the finish, not only because he's 8-0, but I just do think that Cody Brundage is at the end of his career, and Malik is at the beginning of his career. So I do see Mansour Abdul Malik getting the win with this one. And guys, let me tell you, you guys can ask my friends, my family. I'm one of those guys who kind of goes against the old school guy a lot of times, because I do think these new school guys who are like 8-0, 11-0, they go up against a guy who's been in the UFC for a while, a UFC veteran, and they simply just get G-checked and they can't handle it. So the majority of the time, I don't go with the prospect. But this time, the two fighters that are starting this main card, I am going with the two prospects. Next up, we have Cody Garbrandt vs Barcelos, Ronnie Barcelos. So this is two old school guys, right? Two old school guys, been in the division for a while, especially Cody Garbrandt. I would even call him a UFC legend, even though for people who don't know, Cody Garbrandt always used to try and DM my ex all the time, little shit. Like, bro, you're a garden though. My cock's bigger than you. You're not going to get my ex. But yeah, it was what it was. But yeah, Cody Garbrandt is going up against Ronnie Barcelos, and it's going to be battle of the vets. But I do see Barcelos getting that win. I think if Barcelos is able to take him to the ground, which for me, Cody Garbrandt, I only see him winning with a knockout or, just keeping it striking. I do think that Barcelos is going to be able to take it down on the ground, and he's going to get that submission on Cody, or be able to maul him and rain down blows. And guys, I'm not going for Barcelos because Cody Garbrandt always used to message my ex. I don't give a fuck, I have pretty women around me all the time. I truly do think Barcelos is going to get the win on that one. So, next up, we have Edmen Shahbazyan. Edmen Shahbazyan, I've seen him like 2-3 times in my gym before. He has trained at Gracie Barra. He does know Edwin. And I remember he was like, if I'm not mistaken, he was who's the female legend? The female legend in the UFC? Ronda Rousey. Yeah, he was fighting under Ronda Rousey. So I remember Edmen Shahbazyan was fighting under Ronda Rousey. He was meant to be the next big thing. And he got G-checked a few times. He's got a few losses. But as of recent, I do think he has improved dramatically. And I do think he's on the rise up the division in the middleweight division. And he's going up against Andre Petroski, who, we saw him get G-checked against Merab. He blows hot and cold. And honestly, he's got decent wrestling, but standing up, Andre Petroski, honestly, for me, sucks. So I just think that anywhere it goes, Edmen's going to be able to get the win, even if it does go on the ground. And yeah, I'm going with Shahbazyan on this one. Next up, we have Rose Namajunas vs Miranda Maverick. So, this is a well-matched fight. Rose been around the UFC for ages, legend, veteran, both I would say a legend and a veteran. And she's still 32. She's not too old. Let me check if I'm not right. Yeah, she's 32 years old. I know she's going up against Miranda, who's 27, in her prime. However, I do think that if Rose is able to keep it standing, especially, I think Rose is going to be able to pepper her up. And we've seen in the past, Rose ain't someone easy to take down. And she does have decent, good jiu-jitsu. So you know, Miranda blows hot and cold. She's got wins in the UFC, losses in the UFC. Same with Rose. But I do see Rose getting the win with this co-main event this weekend. And finally, we have the legend, someone who was honestly, is still one of my favorite fighters. Obviously, he hasn't been active, but I went and watched him live. I was there front row when he beat the shit out of Colby Covington and broke his jaw. You know, I'm pretty sure Colby Covington was hearing my voice in the background screaming as he was getting beaten the shit out of. And you guys know, I'm a Republican, I would say, conservative, but I just can't digest Colby Covington, man. He's a loser, in my opinion. He got an easier route through the UFC. He's not that great. He's not a killer. He's not a real fighter deep down. And yeah, he's a little bit washed for me. And definitely now, I don't see him ever getting a win in the UFC again. Which I do have a hit piece coming out for Colby Covington. Which I have a lot of hit pieces coming out. People in the cannabis industry, people in the UFC industry, MMA industry, people in general, a lot of fake red pill gurus, a lot of fake playboys who think they're like, you know, next top G's, but really they just pay for pussy across the internet. So yeah, we've got loads of hit pieces coming out. I know you guys love controversy as well. So I'm going to make sure, like I said, I'm diversified and I hit every single avenue. So finally, UFC main card this weekend, the UFC Fight Night, which is going to be in, is it in Las Vegas? No, it's not in Las Vegas this week. Where is the UFC Fight Night this week? If you guys can check that for me. I think, it's in Atlanta. All right, cool. It's in Atlanta this week, guys. So, and, Atlanta. Atlanta's such a failed city, man. Georgia as a state, it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I've been to Georgia. You know, I visited Savannah. From there, I went to a place called Reedsville. You know, it has a lot of natural beauty. And some of the most clear skies I've ever seen were in Georgia. At night time, you could see like millions of stars. It was amazing, beautiful. But the main city in Atlanta, I wasn't there for long. I only landed there on an airplane. But yeah, what a failed city, man. Literally everyone was wearing masks in the airport. A libtard city. All right, cool. So we have Kamaru Usman, who I've said before, watched him live, big fan of his. He was a champion for a while, took out a lot of beasts in the division, and he's going up against the up-and-coming Joaquin Buckley. And, you know, Buckley is someone who come from the welterweight division. Sorry, my bad. Buckley is someone who come from the middleweight division. He was getting wins in the middleweight division, but he also got losses in the middleweight division. And finally, I think that Buckley is at his right weight. He's a killer in the welterweight division, packed with muscle. He's got those fast twitch muscles. He's fast. He's strong. He's got good takedown defense. And I honestly think that Buckley could potentially be a champion at 175, man. I truly believe that. Oh, fuck. Not 175, at 170. I truly believe that Buckley can be a champion at 170. You know, he's beaten a few killers in the division. He's well-rounded. He's got good takedown defense. He's a killer standing. He's got the power. He's got the pace. He's got the cardio, which most people who are packed with so much muscle don't have that much cardio. And unfortunately, for someone who is a Kamaru Usman fan, I do think he's going to get the loss this weekend, man. I see that Buckley's going to go out there, get the W. And honestly, he's probably going to be the next one up for the title. I know they're saying that Islam Makhachev is next to fight JDM. But after that, surely it's going to have to be Buckley. Unless they make Buckley fight... Bro, who's that guy from Kazakhstan? Fucking hell, how my mind's gone blank. Who's the guy in the welterweight division who just got injured, fought Ian Gary? Rakhmonov. So I think Dana could potentially make the Buckley vs Rakhmonov fight. But if that fight doesn't happen, then I do think that Buckley's going to be next up after the Islam Makhachev fight. And for everyone watching, who do you think's going to win? Do you think that Makhachev's going to win? Or do you think that do you think that Makhachev's going to win? Or do you think that JDM is going to win? 2 secs, guys. I just need to spit quickly. 1 sec. Yeah, right. What's that? Shavkat Rakhmonov, yeah. So yeah, man, I fuck with Paddy Pimblett as well. In fact, I'll tell you something. Paddy, for me, is one of the most improved fighters in the UFC. When he first come around, I said it to my cousin, I said it to my friends. I said, look, this guy, he's a fighter, a true fighter. Like, he's willing to go in the fire. But I don't think he's got what it takes to be a champion. Well, let me tell you guys, I'll take that right back. He has got what it takes to be a champion. His standing is not the greatest. He leaves his chin exposed a little bit. But his ground game is elite. He's very good at his jiu-jitsu and transitioning. And his latest wins, man, you just can't take it away from him. Do I think he's fought real killers in the division yet? No. I would like to see how he does against Arman Tsarukyan or someone like Dustin or Gaethje. You know, one of the killers in the division. Because let's be honest, Bobby Green and Chandler are just outside the killers, you know? They're not real killers. But they are great fighters. So yeah, Paddy Pimblett, big up to Paddy, man. And I always love to support my Brits. Always, I'm British till I die. So, who said that? Yeah, honestly, SNG Gaming, I do think that it's going to be a bad matchup for Paddy, man. Like, Arman Tsarukyan is a killer. You know, he trains at my gym as well. He's got a lot of great top pressure. He's great at his jiu-jitsu, great wrestling. Standing, I think they're roughly around the same. I think they're both around the same levels. But yeah, either way, I'm excited for Paddy Pimblett's future career. So yeah, I do think that Buckley is going to go get that win against Kamaru Usman this week. I just think that Kamaru's just not being active enough, man. When was the last time we saw Kamaru fight? Was it the Khamzat fight? And he's had knee problems, surgery. He runs a podcast now. I just don't see him getting that win. But let me tell you, if he does get that win, then fuck, man. You know, the fire's going to ignite into Usman. And I think he's going to be very close to getting a title fight, you know? Especially him being a legend in that division. It's only right we give Usman a title fight if he does go and get that W. They said Arman and Ilya beat everyone at 155, yeah? I agree with you. I agree 100%. I think that Arman and Ilya Topuria are the biggest killers at 155 right now, obviously without Islam there. With Islam there, honestly, I think Islam is a level above Topuria and Arman Tsarukyan. However, he is naturally a bigger guy than them. Like, if you look at Topuria and Islam Makhachev standing next to each other, it's crazy. However, let me tell you guys something. If Topuria finds the chin of anyone even at 170 and below, he's knocking you out, I believe. If Topuria finds that chin, it's out. I don't care if your name's Islam, Arman Tsarukyan, Gaethje, Dustin Poirier. It doesn't matter who the fuck it is. If he catches your chin, Ilia Topuria, you are going out. And he is a great all-round fighter. However, I don't see him beating Islam Makhachev in the long run. I think Islam will be too smart, keep that distance, take him down. And on the ground, even though Topuria is good on the ground, I just don't see him being able to put up with Islam on the ground. I do see Islam applying the pressure, getting in the right position and getting some sort of choke. More than likely a Darce choke, which we've seen Islam getting plenty of times. Probably a Darce choke if you want me to be honest. All right, cool. So and who's dangerous? Yeah, man. Buckley could definitely get that win, man. Buckley is a dangerous motherfucker in that welterweight division. Yeah. Guys, you got to remember, he was a middleweight. Yeah. He even gave a good fights in the middleweight division. Even though when we were watching Buckley in the middleweight division, I was like, bro, who the fuck is this Ninja Turtle going up against these giants? He's literally like a brute, right? He's built like a little Ninja Turtle. Literally, he looks like a Ninja Turtle as well. But now he's in the welterweight division. I just do think that Buckley is a fucking problem, man. He's got great striking. And even in the last fight, right? Even in the Stephen Thompson fight, I don't think that was the last fight, but even in the Stephen Thompson fight, he was able, you know, he was losing striking. And let me tell you guys something. Stephen Thompson is still the best striker in that division. Yeah. And I said this to my cousin. And I remember during that fight, my cousin was saying, nah, Buckley's going to knock him out, which my cousin was right in the end. Big up to Andy. He was right in that one. Buckley did knock him out, but let's be honest. It took him 4 or 5 rounds. It was the 5th round, right? It was the last round he knocked him out. It took him 5 rounds of him getting beaten every single round. Huh? I think it was later, man. I don't think it was the 3rd round. I think it was a 5-round fight. No, not Colby. We're not talking about Colby. Stephen Thompson, bro. He hasn't fought Colby. He hasn't fought Colby. Sorry, I've got much better memory than my cousin Andy. All right, cool. Yeah, let's go. Let's go just to see. Joaquin Buckley. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Stephen. Oh, yeah, he did fight Colby last. Yeah, what am I talking about? Oh, yeah, so, yeah. That was a 3rd round TKO. Yeah. Before that, it was Stephen Thompson. Sorry, yeah. My bad. I actually forgot about that. It was when Colby said he was injured, right? Like, Colby tried to say he was injured and shit. That's why he, they stopped the fight or something, didn't they? Maybe that was a 3-round fight. What I do remember against Stephen Thompson is that Buckley was losing every single round, apart from the round that he got the knockout, and even that one I think he was losing. So Stephen Thompson is an elite striker, but he just didn't have the power and the grit to go through to the end. But yeah, sorry, my bad. Yeah, so your Buckley's last fight was Colby Covington, and he does have better memory than me, I guess. And before that, it was Stephen Thompson. And then before that, it was Moreno, Andre Fiallo. And his last fight at middleweight was the Chris Curtis fight, which he lost. And he also lost against Imavov. So yeah, man, he was fighting killers in the middleweight division before he went to the welterweight division. Listen, it's going to be a great fight. Looking forward to it. And it might be the 2nd time. I mean, sorry, no, we ain't seen Usman being knocked out in his life, have we? No, we have. One sec. No, we haven't. I don't think we have. No, we haven't. Oh, no, we have. What am I talking about, bro? The head kick bang. Yeah, that's the only time we've seen... Kamaru Usman being knocked out. It was against our boy Leon Edwards with the headshot bang. So, we've seen it happen before, but that was a gnarly head kick that it was, So, is it going to happen again? I think if it does happen, it's going to be the fist. It won't be a high kick. Even though, let's be honest, guys, who holds the best knockout with a kick in the UFC? Let's see if you guys name it. And it's not Leon Edwards. It's not Leon Edwards, guys. Yeah, I'll be honest with you guys. Leon Edwards is finished. I loved him. One of my favorite fighters, but he's really done. He's finished, man. I don't ever see him getting a win against any of the top guys again. He had his time. He had his period, but right now it's finished, man. Pereira Wonderboy, they're saying, yeah? No. You guys are wrong. And let me tell you my memory. No, not Holly Holm either. You guys are all wrong. And I'm going to show you guys right now. Switch the camera to the laptop. Guys, Buckley has the best kick of all time in the UFC. Let me show you it right now. How is this not the best kick of all time? Come on, man. It's not even debatable. Watch. This is some like Street Fighter shit. Like, we might potentially never see this shit ever in the UFC again. Ever. Cuz, that was insane. Oh my God. Look at this. I got to put this in full, man. Look at this again. Cuz, tell me this is not the best kick ever. This has to be. There's nothing even close. Look, he throws the first kick, gets caught. Does it sound? Woo! Woo! That, bro, you only see that shit on fucking PlayStation or some shit. You don't see that shit on the UFC. Well, we've got to watch it one more time. One more time, guys. One more time. Yeah. And look at the way he falls as well. Yeah, it's like a Mortal Kombat. Look, watch. Bro, that guy don't know where he is. Hey, that was insane, man. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch more clips like that, click here. Or if you want to watch the full stream, click here.